Next, let's tackle the charging handle. Now, because this doesn't have that same coating that you find on the rest of the gun, let's see what we get when we just wipe it down. I'm curious. I can feel that it's more coarse, and that's just part of the carbon built up on this thing. But it actually cleaned off pretty easily. Let's get in here. Again, get as much of that. Ooh, that was nice right there. All right, so I feel like that's a pretty good wipe down. Let's try to get some of the wearing through my table here. I squirted a little bit more on this part than I probably would have on other parts, just because it had a little bit more carbon than the other stuff that we've come to so far. Still got a lot in there, actually. Wow, yeah, you can see a lot of carbon in here. I'm not stopping it from functioning by any stretch of the imagination, but I can just see it built up in there. Do I really need to scrape all that out? Not really. All right, let's work on this bad boy. All right, so again, the first thing I'm probably going to do is just wipe it down, get as much of the stuff off of it. And again, this was already a dirty rag when I started. Wow. Well, okay, that's just wiping it down. That's not really actually spraying it with any type of degreaser. And I can see, you know, in some of these edges here, I can see some buildup. And that's really not even buildup. That's more like just hard to reach area there. Okay, so that's pretty much done, the outside at least. Pull the firing pin out. Let's drop that bad boy. Now, these advanced combat bolts have the dual ejector springs on them, and they are tight. And you know what? With my gloves, I'm going to have a hard time. There we go. Oh, wow. All right, well, let's take a look at this bolt now that we got the bolt carrier now that we got the bolt out of it. Let's see what we can get out of the inside here. Shove this paper in. A couple turns. All right, that is done. Okay, I'm just going to wipe down my firing pin here. Now, one other thing that you want to start to do is as you're cleaning, or maybe once you're done cleaning, but since I'm kind of moving through this pretty quickly, we'll talk about it now, is you want to kind of inspect pieces of your equipment here. I'm just looking to make sure that the firing pin is, you know, not damaged. I don't see any marring or scraping or deformity to the tip there. That thing looks good. You know, on your bolt carrier here, if you're using a DI gun, I would be looking at the gas key to make sure that it's still locked in place and it doesn't have any movement. Obviously this guy is not, and there's not going to be any movement on that. Let's take care of this guy next. Ooh, what's that? That is a big shaving of brass right there. Okay, interesting. You can see a lot of wear on the wings of this extractor here, but nothing, nothing that would lead me to believe that it is no longer serviceable. One of the other spots that I'm looking at is my extractor claw. I want to make sure that it's not too worn or too sort of beat down, and this guy looks fine. I'm just looking at some of the wear patterns here to see if there's anything particular I should be worried about, but there really isn't. All right, the rest of these little parts, you know, just a general wipe down. Nothing really too big a deal there. Be careful. These little smaller parts, they can be a pain in the ass. Finding them off the floor, that is. All right, so I'm taking a close look at my bolt here. Again, this is the Advanced Combat Bolt, so I've got the kind of lobster tail, and I do not see any issues. And what's really interesting, I know it's going to be hard to see it, is that there is very little carbon built up on the tail. And a lot of people get wrapped around the axle. They get all this carbon built up on the tail here, and they want to make sure that they do a good job of like scrubbing that stuff off. Well, conventional wisdom would say, yeah, you definitely want to do that, but again, you don't have to. And what I'm seeing in this one is that there really isn't any, there's hardly any carbon built up right in here. I mean, not really. I'm grasping at straws on that one, trying to find some. There really isn't much to speak of, and in case you can't tell in my voice, I'm actually very, very surprised. I have shot several rifles beyond 10,000 rounds just to see what they could do. And usually when I'm cleaning them, that is that's quite the chore. But this guy, there is nothing. I'm going to go ahead and just squirt. There is by the locking lugs, there's a lot of debris here, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of the cleaning that I'm doing here. Clean off the face a little bit. Okie dokie. Well, that's about it. Pretty non-dramatic. Again, I could get some Q-tips and I can get in here and try to scrub some of this debris out from the edges right in here. I can try to, I'm just trying to find new places to really get into. Normally I wouldn't really care what that bolt face looks like, but we'll go ahead and spend a little extra time on it right now. All right, so that's cleaning in a nutshell. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reassemble all this stuff, put it back together, do a quick oiling and function check, and we'll be done. I'm going to start with my bolt here, and like I said, this Advanced Combat Bolt with these dual springs here, you really push down and really get them back in there. In fact, I'm going to use the table to assist me here. There we go. Once I get in a certain distance, I'll go ahead and use the firing pin to get it in the rest of the way. This thing's being a... There it is. All right. After that, let's go ahead and drop this bad boy in. Whoa, now. That thing just fell right out. Guess I'll have to pin that from now on. Come on, you. There we go.